someone was going around and posting photos, and one got posted in your bathroom. Like someone random put a photo of the host of what's that fucking show on MTV?
Ridiculousness.
Ridiculousness.
Oh,
Whose
Rob, what's his
name?
face?
Rob.
Rob Dyrdek.
Yeah.
Rob
And
Dyrdek.
Macy just looks so sincerely and goes, "We've been robbed."
Manic
Pixie.
Jump Scare. Hosted by Quinn Murphy
and Becca Hobart.
Hi,
We're
Quinn. And
we're
we're
Becca.
Becca. And welcome to Manic Pixie Jump Scare.
Keep going.
That went so many places. Welcome to Manic Pixie Jump Scare, a podcast where we talk openly about our shared delusions.
Passions
And love
for each other. Quinn, that was gorgeous.
Thank you. I really tried.
Yeah.
I did sing this week. So
you get the award for best singing this week.
oh my god. And it is award season, you guys.
Yeah.
Award season is rapidly approaching.
Mhm.
And MPJ, who knows, an award show might be in our future. We'll run out of ideas eventually.
Just like Trisha and Ethan, we definitely have to do like an internet awards
I've
moment.
had thoughts about this. We definitely have more episodes than Frenemies at this point.
Oh, for sure.
Right?
And we've
How
not
long
fought
was
once.
Frenemies, actually?
Couple episodes. Nah, there was like 20 something.
That's crazy. That was like the last cultural moment, I feel.
Yeah, I think so too.
That was the last truly interesting thing to happen in culture.
Literally. Yeah.
Wait, there are 39. Oh, so we're not quite there yet.
So close.
39 episodes of Frenemies. But yeah, so anyway, Becca and I also have another award to hand out.
It's so true.
And if Becca were to win an award right now, she would win best virtual background of the people who are visible on screen right now.
Thank you.
However, we do have an honoree here today.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And Becca, what is her award?
Her award not only goes to best virtual background off screen, about to be shown, but also goes to the award for the person who has lived with me and has lived through it. Where is she?
Where is she? Oh, wow, there she is.
Help!
Thank you.
We have Becca's former roommate, current friend.
Yes.
And my current friend, I'll say. Be brave. Macy.
Proclaim. Macy. Macito.
Macito.
Big Mac.
Yeah.
Mac Daddy.
Yeah.
What else can we say?
Also could have the award for like knowing anything about science in this room.
Yeah.
Award
for smartest woman alive, I think.
Oh. All right.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But yeah, we have invited Macy here for a specific reason. And all will be revealed very soon. But first, we must catch up. And so I'll start with Becca, because not good to make a guest go first, even though Macy is a fan of the pod.
Yeah.
Big fan.
Familiar with the format.
Becca, what has been going on in your week this week?
So, I don't know if you can tell by like the little sexy kind of rasp I have going on right now, like just the tiniest bit.
Yeah.
I do have the common cold. Ooh, tough, right?
Stop.
Makes your head hurt. So, unfortunately, yesterday, when I arose and tried to get out of bed, immediately I fell back down into bed. And you know what that calls for? A call off of work.
Yes.
That's
no
happened.
call, no show.
No call, no show. Very different. I didn't do that. But something about calling and then having your manager pick up and you just have to say like, I don't feel good. It just makes me feel so much worse. And I like, I could like throw up thinking about it. Like, I just hate that feeling. Also, the feeling of like losing like what, $85 to not go to the shift. It's really tough.
Working hourly. That's the horror of it, really.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you have to like coordinate? Like, you wouldn't have to coordinate like somebody to like cover you.
No, that would only be if I knew like beforehand, like I was going away for whatever time and then I could
Okay.
try and like switch shifts with someone, but I don't have that luxury really because no one can take my shifts except that other lead. She don't want to be doing that, to be quite honest.
And everyone heard the silence when we talked about the other lead.
It's scary. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, my old job, like, even if you were sick, like, you kind of had to find your own replacement.
The tour guide stuff?
Yes.
Yeah, because babe, there's a group of people there that do need a tour. Yeah.
People would be posting in Microsoft Teams being like, I'm on my deathbed. Can someone cover my tour today? And then our advisors would be like, can anyone help this person out? Like,
oh my gosh. Please, upvote. Yeah, no, we don't really have like a work group chat or group me. So that's quite okay though.
The girls are not girling, it turns out.
No, except via email sometimes.
Speaking of, well, we had a Teams and then we had a group me that was for like more social stuff outside of work. And then like my last week, they were like, oh, we can't have group me anymore.
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's kind
like
of mean.
Our bosses were like, y'all need to get rid of that.
Ooh. I mean, at Starbucks when we had our group me, it did get a little out of hand sometimes.
Yeah.
I have to admit, where my manager had to like text in the thing at 4 a.m. and be like, hey guys, don't say this while I'm in this group me, because our manager was also in the group me.
For legal reasons?
I did not hear that.
For legal reasons, I did
reasons.
not see that.
Exactly. But
Oh
yeah,
my
but
gosh.
I'm feeling much better now. And the reason I called off yesterday also was because I had to wake up at 7 a.m. for a shift, or 6 a.m. for my 7 a.m. shift today. I was like, there's no way I could possibly do that if I don't take this day off. So it's okay.
So you have to wake up and work tomorrow at 7?
I woke up today.
Oh, woke up today.
Yeah.
She texted me early at like 6:59. It was like podcast today.
Podcast. warning.
And I was like,
exactly.
No,
you were awake too?
Me?
Yeah.
No, I woke up at noon and I read that text and I was like, she's like up.
She's moving boxes around the Ulta.
Oh, she's working. Oh, she's working today.
She's working. Yeah, you could say that.
I'm a little sick this week too. I don't know if it's like a sickness or like an allergy or something. But it's kind of middling, and it's like fine because like I'm not like bedridden obviously, but it's also like, can we like pick a side a little bit? Like, can I either be fully well or fully sick? Because
I totally get that.
I'm in this kind of no man's land.
Yeah, where you're expected to do the tasks that you must do, but you just have to do them like slightly more annoyed.
Yeah, and being someone with no job, I do have a lot of tasks that I have to fulfill throughout the day.
Like going downstairs and going upstairs and then going downstairs.
Walking my dog, yoga with Adrian 30-day challenge.
So true. So true.
But yeah. So, in the words of a prophet, get well soon.
Thank you.
But now we can go to our most prestigious guest. Macy, what has been going on with you this week? I guess you can also like introduce yourself to the listener base at large.
Yeah.
State your business, you know.
So I'm officially Macy Falcione.
That's how you pronounce it, okay.
BSE, Bachelor's of Science in Engineering.
Yeah.
Wait, did you graduate?
Yes, I did.
Oh my God, I didn't know.
Yay!
Yay!
I'd like to thank like not only like Becca for being my roommate, obviously, Quinn for hosting the podcast. You know, this is what drove me to even graduate in the first place, is so that I could be a guest on this podcast and announce it to the world.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It means so much.
Oh my
It means
God.
so much.
But this week I actually went and did like a site visit for the company that I'm gonna work for, and they like paid for everything, which was so amazing because I hate paying for anything. And it was crazy. Like the campus that it's for, I'm gonna work for this company called Epic. The campus is literally like Disney World. I don't know if you've heard.
Oh wow.
Oh.
Every building is themed a different theme.
Oh my God.
And like they have secret tunnels. They have like, it's crazy.
It's
like
giving
it's
tech company.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a tech company. They have and everything, and like, oh man, it was awesome.
Wow.
I guess I will work here. But you know, I'm trying to deal with the fact that I hate labor and the fact that it's really cool. You know? So like, I guess middle ground is good, you know, at least I'm hating the labor but in a cool place.
Yeah.
So that's really the only thing you can do. I will say, Macy, one of my uncle's friends works at that place, and he's like 55 though, and he said it was like hell because everyone else is 24. And I was like, my friend is gonna work there.
Literally everyone is like a recent graduate, so I'm like, whatever, because like then I can talk like a normal person and like talk about like pop culture, and my coworkers will know what I'm talking about. I feel like that's my hardest thing with like when I would work with older people, is I'm like, I can try to tell you current events that I know, but you don't know like current events. Like we're not
gonna get it.
News playing.
The water cooler talk, it's just not giving what it's supposed to give.
Exactly.
Exactly.
But now you can tell them all about this podcast too.
I know. Think about that, guys. 12,000
perfect.
This company, so that's a lot of
that's
subscribers going on.
That is 1,000 times 1,000 of our listeners.
No, it's 1/1000th of our listeners. Get it right.
Sorry, yeah. Whoa.
Everything's a marketing opportunity. That's like what I always say as an engineer. I'm big on marketing. You know. So yeah.
So true. Well, we love that for you, Macy. We're so glad that you're entering the workforce via slide. That's so fun.
Yeah, that's something I can relate to personally quite yet, but I fear the day it is a reality. I'll tell you that much.
But
I see something in our outline, Macy, that you might have done recently.
So, for New Year's, I went to Chicago.
Oh my God, so fun!
Windy City, lesser known as the Foggy City. It was very foggy.
Oh, okay.
We need to talk. Stanless Laureate fog.
Yeah, brutal. It was like, I'm trying to have a good time, but like there's absolutely no sunshine. There's nothing going on. Like it's just there's fog. But
Quinn, why do you like the fog?
Oh, I love the fog. Like
what the hell?
I think it's so ethereal.
It's like
yeah, it's like ethereal.
Twilight.
It's haunted.
Strangers, as I am, I don't like the outdoors to be haunting, you know? Especially in a city where there's, you know, a lot of men.
Yeah.
At me in the fog, like it's a no-go for me. Yeah.
Totally get that.
I saw the Bean. It was a life-changing experience. I love little random stuff like that. Like I know the Bean is stupid, but I'm obsessed with it, and I want a mini figurine of it just to hold. I did flick it because I thought that was like something you should do as like a woman of culture, is like flick the giant bean in Chicago.
It's so true. It's so true.
As a woman in the modern age.
Exactly. And I went to
this
Starbucks store that had like a bar on. It was like 5 floors. And it had a bar on the 4th floor, and I got a Starbucks espresso martini, and it was as good as it sounds. It was amazing.
Yeah. That sounds incredible, honestly. I've heard of this place, the Starbucks Reserve. I've always wanted to go.
Place of legend.
Yeah.
Place of legend and lore. And I'm so glad you were the first person I know there.
I
Incredible.
love Chicago. Fun city.
I've never been.
Really? I haven't been there in a while, like pre-panoramic.
Okay.
But from what I remember,
It's good.
all those years ago.
I thought I wouldn't like deep dish pizza because I like don't love a super saucy pizza.
Uh-huh.
It was actually very cheesy. So it worked out, evened itself out. Like, I'm a cheese girl through and through. Like I would really just my ideal pizza is very little crust, little sauce, and mostly cheese.
Okay, work.
And yeah, this was mostly that, honestly.
I think that's something a lot of people relate to.
Cheese?
Yes.
Yeah. No, one thing about Macy, she's gonna eat some cheese.
Exactly.
Cheese is amazing.
Lactose intolerant, I would rather die. Like I would eat cheese and be happy if I died from it. I don't know.
Oh wow.
You know where you should go if you love cheese, Macy?
No.
The Netherlands.
Oh. Yeah.
Those Dutch people know their way around the cheese. Like,
oh, fascinating.
Nah, if I go to Europe, you better believe I'm gonna eat a lot of carbs.
Yeah.
A lot of dairy. So
nice.
Yeah.
Rock onto that. She's gonna be stanking up all of Europe.
Carbon emissions through the roof.
Hey. I gotta leave my mark on Europe.
By breaking the ozone trusting above it.
Yeah,
as you should.
Because of their greenhouse gases for the year. But
yeah. Love that. Well, it's so exciting, Macy. Wow. The bean.
The bean.
The bean. Well, Quinn, that leads me. I am really curious about your point in the outline, Quinn.
Yeah. So something about having a podcast in which the format relies off like having a check-in thing about like what happened in your life is like, what if nothing happens in your life for a week, like significantly, and you're just kind of like, let me think. But well, actually, I will be talking about some things, but one thing happened yesterday where someone in my life is copying off of Becca. And
I want to guess who it is.
Who would you think it is?
Would you say Macy?
I said it wouldn't be the first time.
No, well, yeah. No, never.
Oh,
never.
No. Oh, trust. Oh, trust. My first guess would be, I don't think it's anyone too close to you, but maybe your dog, Arabella?
So I do not have a dog named Arabella. That is the name of Lady Gaga's dead horse. But no, neither of my dogs are copying off of Becca unless you shit in a street recently, because my dog did that yesterday, actually.
Not recently, but my mom did have to clean up my shit with the pizza box.
so maybe some people are copying off of you. Some more people than we know right now, but actually it's my dad.
Brian?
It is Brian, because what does Brian now have but a Dexcom?
No way.
It's so true. It's so true, actually.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, Brian has a Dexcom. He was showing me all of it yesterday, and I was like, Dad, I know all about this, actually.
Don't even worry, actually
I know all about her. Yeah, and
lovely.
it's interesting because like I feel like everybody our age uses them. Everybody with diabetes our age.
Well, yeah. Everybody our age. Just for the heck of it.
Just for the heck. It's a fun accessory.
Sure is.
But I've known like 3 type 1 diabetics who use it. So
yeah.
And yeah, so
does he love it?
Yeah, he does really like it.
Good.
I also wanted to bring to the podcast, can we talk about how just a few short weeks ago, Becca and I talked about the truth being out. And then, like, literally later that week, we found out that there was this guy elected to Congress who lied about his entire resume.
And I'd like to think we had something to do with that. We said it, so we allowed
literally,
him
guys,
to act like that. It's our
if you guys
fault.
aren't, do either of you know anything about this?
I
Like
don't.
briefly.
It's like one of
I'm bad with keeping up with stuff, but I really should get better at it. But I'm very intrigued.
it's one of the most fascinating.
Breaking news.
This man is like quickly becoming the most fascinating person in America because he literally lied about like his whole background. Like he's a Republican from New York, and he was like he's a gay Latino, so like he was like, oh, I'm like progress for the Republican Party, I'm the American dream. And he like claimed he worked for all these companies. He claimed he had grandparents who were Holocaust survivors. He like, but then it all like basically came out that like they can't corroborate like any of that. Like they called the companies, they're like, did this guy work for you? They're like, no. They can't find his grandparents that allegedly survived the Holocaust.
I can't find his grandparents. Oh boy.
Even the gay thing, he got divorced from a woman, and he ran for Congress in 2022, and not 2022, but 2020, comma
As
TOO.
well?
Yes, as well.
Okay.
And literally like 2 weeks before filing, he finalized a divorce to a woman, which like MPJ, we are not bi erasers here, but he was at one point married to a woman. Since he's lied about all this other stuff, he does have, and I tweeted this last night, he has one of the worst cases of gay face I've ever seen. So
right.
I think in some way he does, you know, get a little fruity in the booty. But yeah, and I just can't help but think that like gay Republicans I will be talking about later on this podcast, not this episode, but just in a future episode. But I can't help but think he's a listener and he felt empowered to not tell the truth.
I think so too. I think also, I mean, he clearly has lip filler.
Mr. George Santos, everybody, if you haven't heard.
So I just, you know, a listener would do something like that. Get some lip filler, really lie.
He loves to wear like a sweater over his
Oh yeah.
Like everything I've seen of him in the Congress so far is like he's wearing a sweater. And so yeah.
Incriminating. Sus. Publicly sus.
Publicly no. Talk about somebody who's publicly sus and publicly gay. Wait.
Proving it once again.
Guys, I'm scared. George, if you're a listener, come on the pod. We'll talk to you. We swear.
Yeah.
Well, Becca and I will get to the bottom of this.
As a Scorpio, I have like natural tendencies to find things out about people. So
yeah.
I feel like I can find things out about this man. I know he's in Congress. Maybe it's like a little bit of a reach as like an amateur investigator that I am. But you know, I once found someone's address with just their first name, so I think it's fine. Like
wow.
No,
that
Macy's
is a big achievement.
crazy. Macy's so good to have like on your side.
One of my mom's students was like that. And she like, I don't know if I can say this, but she basically like wanted to work for like the government based off like her love for like stalking people on Facebook.
Slay.
I mean,
she's not working in she's not working in the government currently.
All right.
But let's just say it was a realistic possibility at some point.
Wow.
And guys, getting government jobs, especially for like the CIA or like the FBI, crazy process.
Yeah. They take your first one.
You have to, you have to have like a completely spotless like it takes years to actually get into it. It's crazy. But yeah, so that's something I wanted to bring that I feel our podcast is having a contributive effect to the world.
Yeah.
I would agree.
In a neutral way, in a neither negative nor positive way at this point.
Yeah.
We're so positive, but you know.
We're chaotic neutral.
Yeah. And that's fine with me.
Chaotic neutral podcast.
That's I am chaotic neutral. I try to be chaotic good, but like sometimes it's hard, you know. With every day.
Okay, and without further ado, we can throw it to a break and come back soon to discuss our topic.
Yay.
I'm scared.
Oh my god, did you hear that? There's a burglar in the house. Oh my god. So today's topic.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna go for an analogy, but we're gonna talk about roommates because Macy was very famously Becca's roommate.
Mm-hmm.
And roommates are a very polarizing topic. Can't live with them, but in an exceedingly unlivable economic climate like the one we have here in the United States, you also can't really live without them at this point. And so we kind of just have to find a way to navigate this whole landscape. And so we're hoping this podcast episode can be really helpful to those of you who are finding yourself in a similar position, which unless you have about $1 billion net worth, you will find yourself in. And so, yeah. So what was like, let's say, I'll start with like, did either of you like share rooms growing up or anything? Like, what was your like maybe first experience having a roommate?
Ooh. You go, Becca.
Go ahead, Macy. Oh.
My first time sharing a room, every time I had to be in a room with my sister, it went very poorly growing up. Physically, she would just kick me in my sleep kind of thing where so the first time I had a roommate was when I got to college.
Work.
And famously that went very badly.
Oh yeah.
Quinn, you never had the pleasure of meeting this person because they were gone before it even started, really. They were gone after the first semester, and even for that first semester they were there maybe 70% of the time, I would say. Asleep for half of it. I mean, we're all asleep for half of it, but really asleep for half of it.
Yeah.
Like, she slept all day, would stay up all night. Okay. The first time I met her, first thing she really told me about herself was that she was a drug dealer. And I was like, oh, like, that is not who I was in high school. So I was like, okay. Like, very interesting. And she would sleep all day, not go to any of her classes, stay up all night to be a drug dealer, right? And it was one of those things where I didn't really realize how like protective of my things I was until this moment, because I was like, every time I'm not in my room, she is in there, and like all my things are in there, and now I have anxiety of my things being touched. Like,
yeah.
And that's something that's really has stayed with me until now, just because like the unknown of this person. But yeah, she had a lot of issues she was trying to work out. Obviously, this was not the place for her. She was trying to study neuroscience. I was like, I'm pretty sure you got to go to class for that one.
Yeah,
that's one of those majors where it's like, you really do have to go to class.
Yeah,
you have to learn and use that brain you're thinking of knowing about.
Some people go to class and they still can't cut
it. Yeah,
exactly. So I mean, it was just a no-go. The only class she did go to was like her drugs and behavior class. Obviously she was very interested in that one, and it was just a very interesting experience for me, because she was like a loose cannon kind of person, and I'm like not a loose cannon kind of person.
Yeah.
So.
She if you correct me if I'm wrong, but she should have been taking some medications and was not, and was taking different drugs instead.
Yeah, the one time she came in my room, I was in bed, right? Just like watching TV or something. She came in one night, she had a poster with all these different drug chemical makeups on, like formulas on them, comes in, starts pointing at like 5 different ones and goes, I'm on this, I'm on this, I'm on this. And I was like, so one of those is like meth, and like I feel like we should like
reel it in.
Do that. Like
in the college dorm room.
Yeah. So I was just like, I don't know what of her was like a lie and what was serious, but I was just like, all right. And I put my headphones back on and I just kept watching my show. I was like, I'm not gonna deal with any of this right now. So yeah.
She was trying to be Breaking Bad with you, Macy.
I was not happy. I had a wine cooler once and she spilled it all over the floor and I was like, yeah, I tried to be a homie with you for 5 minutes and we have alcohol on the freshman floor and I can't. Like,
I can't deal with it.
And now it's gonna smell like wine in here for weeks.
I know. I was like, wine cooler? Are you kidding?
All right. Sugary.
Yeah.
This also led Macy to sleeping on the floor of my room sometimes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Poor thing.
Reasons, really. I mean, what was I to do? It was 3:00 in the morning, and she's like coming back. She would come back to the room at like 6 or 7 in the morning, and turn the lights on. And I was like, "Now come on," because I couldn't be in there all day because she would be sleeping in there. And I was like, "Well, I can't go in and turn the lights on and like do that." So I was never in my room except to sleep. And then she would wake me up at like 6:00 in the morning, and I was like, "All right, guess I'm up now, and I'm gonna have to go about my day."
Where was she going?
I have no idea. She had a car though, so she was out and about. I don't know.
My goodness.
She could have gone anywhere. Yeah.
I don't know what you do until 6 in the morning on a Tuesday night, but hey.
In Pittsburgh.
In Pittsburgh.
You deal drugs.
Like, what are you getting into, baby?
It was scary. It was bad for her.
It was bad for her. Well.
Yeah. Well, much like Macy, I did not have a roommate until college as well.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up with a brother and we had separate rooms. Are you the same, Quinn?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
It's a blessing and you really realize.
Yeah. You don't realize until you
get there.
In it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Becca, what was your first roommate experience like?
It was my first roommate was this girl that I went to high school with. And, she was a perfectly fine roommate. We didn't really end up being that close or really staying friends. But if anything, I was the bad roommate because, and I'm a horrible roommate for this. I can't wake up to my alarms. I cannot. I feel so bad for all those who have ever lived with me. Like, I just can't wake up to my alarms. And I set like 42 of them. Like, one I just have to get lucky and happen to hear one. It's craziness.
Oh my God. That was one of my like fears in like the hostels when I'd be sleeping with like 12 people in the room. It's like, I hope I don't like keep my alarm going.
Yeah.
The funny thing about Becca though is like she won't wake up to her alarm, right? But I would go in her room. I would literally crack the door open like so quietly and she'd jerk awake. And I'm like, you get that. You can sense my presence, but you can't hear the alarm blasting next to your head. Like,
I love that. Wait.
I'm so intuitive like that. Boom. Oh, Macy has some great photos of me sleeping. I also sleep very scary because I don't move. One time, I'm so still. One time I went to bed like this with my hands on my chest, went to bed like this, eyes closed, and woke up like this. Like 8 hours later, was just in the same spot I fell asleep in. So spooky. But yeah, I've tried, honestly, my mom has tried to give me her deaf person alarm, which literally sends like electric shock through your body.
Oh.
It vibrates you.
Okay, where?
And nothing. It wakes up a deaf woman. It literally cannot wake up me.
There's craziness. Like I don't understand how you can like sense my presence when I'm like looking at you, but like cannot hear or feel anything else. Like
I know.
Becca's a seer.
Yeah.
Like to wake up for my Starbucks shifts at 5 a.m., I would have to set like 3 different sounds go off at the same time. And that like triangle of sounds specifically would make me wake up so fast.
Interesting. Yeah, because you did work like every day of the week at 5 a.m. for a period of your life.
I also probably was not like in REM at that time because I was like going to bed at midnight and waking up 5 hours later. So
that
that's a
helps.
whole
That
other
helped.
thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, so my roommate in college.
Why'd you end up like rooming with her?
Basically, I was like, "Oh yeah, I'll room with you" when she asked me.
Oh, work.
I wasn't like I was like, it's probably better. I had just been diagnosed, so I was like, it's probably better if someone who knows me and like knows my situation instead of like some
Yeah.
rando. Because like she is a responsible person at the end of the day, and like I
Work.
know that if anything were to go sideways, she would know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but Quinn, what about you? What was your first year roommate like?
Yeah, so I similarly to Macy, like whenever I did have to share a room with like my sibling or whatever, I mean it went fine, but not ideal. Um
Mm-hmm.
and so my first time like actually sharing like a space with somebody was my freshman year of college. I did a little random roommate situation.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, Macy, were you random?
Yes, I was. So I
Okay,
think
work.
is I like try to message with people and whatever, but like I don't like strangers very much.
Okay.
I don't like talking to them, I like to be introduced by friends to make new friends, if that makes sense, kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I just was like, I'll just wing it, and obviously that was a mistake.
Left it up
I
to
don't
chance.
I don't like strangers and then lives with one.
I will
Could not have
no,
gone
and I
worse.
will say this for college roommates. I would say this on my tours to people. There's no right way to do it.
Yeah,
There's
you're
no
right.
foolproof way to do it unless you're like literally going to school with like a twin and like
And
your
even
twin who you've
then,
shared, and even then like there's no right way to go about selecting a roommate, especially for like your first year of college. You just kind of
um,
have to let it happen to you.
in Sutherland, there was like, remember that girl and boy twin, Macy, that like they lived
Yes.
in the same room.
Yes, they were a girl and boy twin, and they lived together, and they were never apart. I never saw one without the other. It was like it was
It was
kind of
crazy.
sexual creepiness going on.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was a really interesting thing. Like you can't live with someone of the same sex unless you like specifically like get your parents to request it or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I don't know the twin dynamic, especially when it's a boy girl twin situation, but it was kind of yeah.
Being a twin is something like I can't even imagine. Like I feel like it's such like a experience,
Yeah.
truly. Um, but anyway, so I, much like Macy, did go random and I was assigned this person. Um, we'll call him England. Um
Good one.
So, yeah, so it's like you do your like your housing stuff early summer, and then by mid-July you like get your housing match. And so I'm at work one day and I get like a text being like, "Oh, is this Quinn?" And I'm like, "Yeah, it is." And he goes, "Hi, I'm England. I'm your roommate." And I was like, "Oh my God, work, slay, boots. How are you? What's your whole deal?"
Mm-hmm.
And so like we kind of talked, and this is the first time I noticed. I was like, huh, like an observation I had through our correspondence is that like usually when I'm in like a conversation, and I'm not like a master of social dynamics by any means, but like usually when somebody asks me a question, I'll like ask it back to them,
Right.
like just to get to know. And so I would be like asking him things, and like he would just kind of like answer, and then like he wouldn't like continue the conversation. Um,
Thrilling.
yeah. And so I was like, okay, where? And so I had a lot to deal with that summer, so I was just like, okay, we'll figure it out when I get there. And so then the day has come to move in. Both my parents are with me, And my move-in time, we were like an hour late to my move-in time because I'm me. And so we get there, we walk in, he's there. He's completely moved in, parents gone, like he has settled into the place already. And we're like, hey. And so yeah, and so my mother, like while we were moving in, like is trying to make conversation with him because she's like, someone who's like that. And he like basically what he was doing to me over text messages, he did to my mother, like in real life. And so like not super responsive, kind of like, awkward, like or all this stuff, which is fine.
Yeah.
It's fine so far. But anyway. So, well, first of all, another thing about my room is that I had such a small room my freshman year. I am convinced that it was a single that they like had too many people and had to turn into a double.
Oh my God. It had no
And
AC, right? Also.
yeah, I was living in somewhere that did not have air conditioning.
Terrible.
And so my room, so it was like a square, but actually it wasn't. It was more of like what's it called when a square has 5 sides?
Pentagon.
A pentagon.
There she is. There she is, Miss
It was like a
Science.
pentagon because one like segment of the square had been like chopped off, like one corner of it. And there was this cool thing in my room that was like it was like a window pane, but instead of like glass panes, there were like mirrors. And so it looked like a window, but instead of looking out on something, it was just like a mirror. Which was cool, but it cut off the room. And so the corner of my bed like touched a side of that pane. And then other than that, my bed was like kind of free floating.
Oh.
And so like there wasn't a wall or anything. So like sometimes I was afraid like luckily I don't move that much when I sleep either, or I very well could have like rolled off either side of the bed.
Dangerous.
And so yeah. But it was also because he had like arranged the room before I got there. So it was like kind of like, okay, well, there wasn't like the meeting to be like, okay, this is how we should do things. And so anyway. And so it's everything's going well. Relatively. My parents leave, starting college. It's just a traumatic experience for everybody. And then it was a couple days later, and I had been out. I don't remember what I was doing exactly, but it was literally 2 days after we moved in. So I moved in on a Wednesday, I want to say, and this is a Friday. So I'm like, walking into my room. I walk into my room, and there is a girl in his bed, like with, and I'm like, and they like get up as soon as I walk in, and I was just like, oh, and then I was just like, I'm like, okay, first week of college, I have to play this cool. And so I pick my things up and I'm just like, oh, I just have to grab this real quick. I'll see you later. And I like, and I leave and I'm like, okay, work, go me.
Word.
And so that was the first thing. And
was that his girlfriend?
No, not before like they not like coming into college or anything, no.
Okay.
I don't know. I still to this day don't know exactly what she was to him. But anyway, so I leave and then I'm like, okay. So then he like texts me being like, oh, I'm sorry about that. And I was like, oh no, it's okay. It's okay. Just like, I don't know if I established like, oh, text me next time, or it might have been like when I got back to the room, I was like, oh, it's just like let me know next time. And so anyway, I did like the first weekend we had my first year, we had a Red Eye Festival, which is basically like a 24-hour play festival. So I've been out all day rehearsing. And on our little break, I like came back to my room to like grab something. And just literally a day later, I walk in. He's literally unbuckling his like belt on his pants. Same girl is in his bed. And I'm like, oh. And so I literally just like turn right around and like run down the hallway because I don't want him to like come after me. And he was like,
come after you.
No,
Oh my God.
not like violently, but like I just didn't want to talk about it. So I was like, I just ran down the hallway and like 2 left turns and I was out of there.
Right.
And I was like literally
So true.
halfway back to like the space where the show was before he was like, "Oh, you can come back and get whatever you need." And I'm like, I was just like, I didn't even respond to it. I was just like, okay. And so literally that's like I walked in on him twice within like our first 3 or 4 days living together.
This is actually crazy because I never knew this.
Yeah. What?
This man is a fiend. Like,
No,
what?
literally.
Like,
Yeah.
how did you even meet her that quick? That is so crazy to me.
No, and afterwards we were like when we had to do like did you guys have to sit down with your roommate your first year and like make a contract?
Yes, we did have to do that, Becca. We had to send it to our RA, like a little contract
Oh,
rules. It was
I don't
horrible.
remember that.
I just did it by myself because I was like, I can't establish rules with this.
Oh my God.
Well, you guys did you guys live in a suite?
Yeah, I think we might have had to do suite rules also.
Oh, okay.
But yeah,
That
I
makes
know
sense.
for a fact my roommate was not a part of that process, but I do remember doing that because I was like, I don't know what rules to make. Like, don't be bad. Like, I hate.
Don't deal drugs. Don't deal drugs.
Yeah, so we had to establish we had to establish when we wrote the contract like, just if you ever want to have anyone over, just like let a girl know.
Put a ponytail on the doorknob. That's the classic trick.
Yeah. And he was like overall just very weird individual. Some other didn't wear shower shoes.
Ew.
That was another thing.
Ew.
Did not wear shower shoes. One day I used to get up really early my freshman year and like go to the gym before classes and stuff. One day I come in and my bed was right in front of the window. And when we got there, the little window shade pullers were like tied up.
Okay.
I think just so that they stay together and so like that you don't like the window shade doesn't do the thing where it like goes lopsided.
Oh yeah.
Or so people don't like kill themselves with it. That was the other one I thought of.
Fair enough.
But one day I get back to the room from like working out and he's like standing right next to my bed, untying that.
For what?
Yeah.
Like,
tell me a little bit
like
about why you did that.
He just decided he had to, and so I'm like not very I'm confrontational in certain contexts, but like not others. And so I'm just like, okay, I'll let him like do that for like 2 more minutes, just in case he like finishes, like I'm a pretty accommodating person. Yeah, like but he's like literally standing where my stuff is to shower, and I have like a 9:15 class or something, and so I'm just like, okay. And so he's there and like he like keeps doing it. He's like determined to do it, and I'm like eventually I have to be like, okay, I have to grab my stuff. Sorry. What were some of the other things he did?
I have to say, also, I know this man.
Uh-huh.
Because I don't know if you were waiting to talk about this, but we all had a class together. The very class that I met Quinn in,
Yes.
This man was also in.
Yes.
And when I tell you, I literally like when you told me, oh yeah, he's my roommate, I have never been more shocked in my life because you acted like you had never met him ever before. Like I would have guessed you didn't know his name. I mean, hell, you probably don't. You probably don't the way you are, but like
no, because I came up with a creative moniker.
Okay, yeah, true. But there was just it literally like warped my brain. Like sometimes I literally still think you're lying because there was just no acknowledgement. Like I never saw you look him in the eye.
I avoided it when I could.
Well, exactly.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
And, yeah, it was also just weird because like when we were in the room, just like not talking, like we just wouldn't talk to each other like ever, basically.
Yeah.
The other thing is he was fully, so guys, we're 18 at this point.
Mm-hmm.
What did he use to like scent himself every day?
No.
Not Axe
But
body spray. Tell me it's not Axe.
1,000%. You solved the puzzle. Congratulations. Puzzle solver award goes to. He was literally using Axe body spray at his big ass age. And what made me so tight over that is that one time, so I was with this group of friends my freshman year of college who like didn't end up being like a good group of friends, basically. And so one night we were like drunk or high or something, and like something that's classic about like freshman year culture is you'll like get like drunk and like hang out in like the quad or something, which is like why? You don't have anywhere to go basically to be drunk in public. And so we're in the quad and we run into him, and my friends think it's like so funny to talk to him basically. And so this is like bad because this is like showing that like they're not good friends, but they go, so England, what would you say is the worst thing about like Quinn as a roommate?
Oh God.
What a horrible way to start a conversation.
Yeah.
And like, and I'm expecting him to be like a regular person and to like not answer that in front of people. Like, like if I got that question, I'd be like, oh, honestly, no complaints. Like, you know, especially if it's somebody I have like a cordial relationship with. But of course he goes, well, actually, you like spray your hair in the room sometimes and it gets like really like smelly. Like
hairspray?
Yes.
Oh, your hairspray smells bad, but his Axe body spray.
Literally, and he would spray. So after that, I stopped like spraying my hairspray in the room, but he would literally put like on Axe body spray in our room, and I'm like, so you're putting on the strongest scent you can possibly put on.
Yeah.
The famous scent of 12-year-olds. Like,
and I'm using like Tresemme level 3.
Like salon quality, babe. Salon quality.
Like, I don't get what like the anyway. And so yeah, just yeah. One day I woke up and he was like eating a dragon fruit.
Whoa, where'd he get that?
I think maybe Whole Foods.
Oh my God.
He
walked all the way there from Holland.
I don't know. He might have taken the bus as well. He had a skateboard. Never saw him use that. Like he had a skateboard in his closet. It never moved. It never moved. So I was like, I don't know what's going on here. He also had that picture of he had a poster of George Costanza from Seinfeld in his underwear.
That one, I remember it.
Yeah, like on the wall. And yeah, he also like didn't go like when everybody went home during the pandemic, because like luckily my year living with him one of the good things about the pandemic is that my year living with him got cut short. And so luckily when I returned to the room, I had to like move myself out completely like by myself when I got home, and I had like all these posters on the wall, and I'd used like poster tape. And so I literally stripped so much paint off the wall of like Holland Hall. I was surprised they gave me money back for like my housing.
Crazy, actually.
Because I did like a lot of not any like actual damage, but like they definitely had to repaint the room. Or at least one wall. And so but like I didn't get to see him, but like when I came back, he had like rearranged like his whole side of the room. And then he didn't leave. Like he lived in campus housing until
throughout it.
Yeah, it's like
oh wow.
Yeah. So
I didn't know you were allowed to do that.
Yeah, I thought the whole point was that we couldn't.
No, well, like international, there were some people who got stuck there, or like I'm sure there was some. He figured it out because we would zoom in for our class we all had together, and he would be on campus.
He was there. Fair enough.
Interesting.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And he got to move into like Ruskin or something, if I remember correctly.
Oh, nice. Well, that's like
which was
like, my roommate since she left the first semester. Like, I just got to have my room to myself.
Yeah.
and I made her bed into a couch, and then my room became like the room that we hung out in because like
It was awesome. It was Macy's apartment.
Yeah, it was my little apartment and whatever, and we would have our little like game nights in there. Played Extreme Spoons. Extreme Spoons, Quinn, you've never heard of it. The best game ever. Like
it's because we invented it, Macy.
Well, and it's awesome, yeah. So
is it based off Spoons?
Yes, it
vanilla?
is. Yeah. So like where you do the card game or whatever, and like there's spoons in the middle. So the first person to get the spoon, like, or the person that gets out first, goes and hides the spoons somewhere in the dorm.
Oh, wow.
So then you like whoever gets it first like just darts out of the room, and then everybody just has to run around like looking for the spoons, and they're all hidden in like the same spot somewhere, and like you just have to find them. It was crazy. That's
awesome. A really fun elevation of the concept.
Yeah,
it was so fun. Dude, that was
these random boys that we never met before. I invited
Wait, so the person that gets out gets to hide them, or the first person to like
the first person that gets out like is no longer part of it. Is
okay.
Them.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's how it goes. Like, so once you're out, you get to hide them. But
I think once you like,
that's nice. It's a nice little consolation prize too. That's another great thing of the game design.
Yeah,
exactly.
And everyone loved it. Everyone had a freaking great time, and we never hung out with those guys ever again. But they told me they loved that game.
Yeah,
bro. But I missed them every day. Like I thought about them every day of college. I loved them.
Actually, like I've seen them so many times since then, and I still like will say
Me
hi.
Too.
But it's like we just have this weird shared experience together, and like
we're
friends though.
Yeah, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful human thing.
It's a college experience, really.
Yeah,
and never speaking to them again.
We also lived. This was was it the last year they did it? I think so, because after there was like bridges were built, the building bridges, and we lived in the athlete dorm.
Yeah,
and we were on the football floor.
Yeah, you were.
I can't believe it.
Was a little bit scary in so many ways because Becca was on the complete opposite end of the hallway from me. So anytime I would want to go to Becca's room, I would have to walk past their rooms. And for some reason, they always kept their doors wide open.
Yep.
And they would all, it was like a collection of them. Like they would be sitting in a place where they could look out their door. You'd walk past and you'd see them all turn and just stare at you as you walk past. I'm like, can I not have just some peace where I'm in my pajamas and I'm walking to my friend's room? Like,
yeah, dear God.
Why is this happening?
I'm trying to have a good time.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm just trying to have a good night.
They were pretty intense, like all the time.
It's like, you know, when
student athletes, man.
Yeah. Do you remember in She's the Man when she arrives to the school and they're like throwing balls in the hallway and she's like, It was like that, it felt like. For a whole year.
There was a lot of crazy shit that happened in there. There was like around Halloween, they started throwing pumpkins at the walls. Do you remember that, Becca?
Oh yeah, there's pumpkin all over the walls.
Why did they do that? They started ripping the elevators apart. Like they were physically ripping them apart and stealing the tiles that were in the elevator.
Oh my God. The football players?
The athletes in general. Like,
oh my God.
You're getting emails that were like, if you take another tile, like everyone on this floor, everyone in this dorm is like getting fined. And I was like, guys, please stop taking the tiles. Like,
guys, please.
Yeah.
That does remind me though of when one of my first big moments as a college girl was when I I guess so the athletes lived there all through the summer, right? So they had known each other.
Yeah.
And I guess there was like this ongoing competition between the girls cross country and the boys cross country, which were a floor below us and then a floor above us. Where they would put they were playing the penis game, but with visuals. Okay. So they would put a little penis in the elevator and slowly it would get bigger or whatever until finally I stepped in and made this huge penis with multiple pieces of paper. And I climbed up the elevator and like threw it in the tile until it took up like most of that elevator ceiling.
Oh my God.
And it was like very mysterious because I was just like, yeah, I'm a part of this now. This like war. And I won.
Yeah.
Why were you guys like vandalizing? Like
they were like, I don't know what it is about athletes in general, but like they will vandalize everything. Like
Yeah.
they know they don't have to pay for anything, so they're like, let's just vandalize the shit out of everything. And it's like,
Yeah.
now why are we throwing pumpkins at the wall on the inside of the dorm? You know, there's a whole outside where you could throw these pumpkins. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, wherever you want. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. They also can't get in trouble. Yeah, they can't get in trouble for anything, and they are explicitly told that, like, you can't get in trouble. So,
so the
C'est la
regular
vie for them.
exactly. Yeah. It's
Wow.
craziness.
Wow. Well, that was kind of our first roommates experience. So when did you guys like so you guys have a third roommate. I don't know how much we want to get into it, but so
Yeah.
is she like a part of this or
our roommate situation.
yeah, no, how do you like get introduced to the third roommate that is eventually in the equation?
Oh,
She lived in my suite.
Okay.
She wasn't my roommate, obviously. She was in a separate suite with her own roommate.
Uh-huh.
And originally, like at the beginning of the spring semester, like me, Becca, her roommate, Becca's roommate, we're all like gonna try to live in a 5-person suite in Panther.
Okay.
They
yeah.
have like 6 of them total. So like we did not get that.
Yeah.
And then like it just kind of worked out that me, Becca, and our roommate, like our parents were fine with us living in an apartment, and the other 2 girls, like their parents wanted them to live in a dorm still for sophomore year. So like just got
Separated there. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's how you find your way to Dimling.
Exactly.
Dimling.
Exactly. Dimling Way. Quaint street. It was
Would we call it a street, Becca? I would say it's
an alley. A dark alley. But she treated us well, and now Nan lives there.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Mm-hmm. Former podcast guest Nan Mahesh.
Yeah.
I famously ended my roommate era, and roommate era has been on hiatus since I lived with England.
And good for you. Good
so
for
since
you.
2020, not like completely by choice, but you know, it works out.
Yeah.
You gotta do it.
But yeah.
Okay, I just thought of I need to tell one more thing about being in the suites on
Okay.
Sutherland.
Work, yeah.
This makes me cry laugh every time. It's so fucking stupid. But see, do you remember someone was going around and posting photos, and one got posted in your bathroom, like someone random put a photo of the host of what's that fucking show on MTV?
Ridiculousness.
Oh,
Whose
Rob,
name?
what's his face?
Rob
Deerdick.
Yeah.
Rob
And
Deerdick.
Macy just looks so sincerely and goes, "We've been robbed." Just like Selena Gomez would deliver, and perfect comedic timing. It was so amazing. I was like, yeah, probably.
Honestly,
Yeah.
like we had a lot of like fun little times. Living in a dorm can be like very fun because you can like sneak around and like we would sneak around. We would play like hide and go seek. We would, we would do a lot of fun. We'd visit other floors and be like, let's listen and like see what people are talking about. Like just dumb shit like that you can't do in an apartment building with adults because it's like really creepy then. But like when you're you can get away with whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You're kind of like Survivor and that you have to create your own society.
Yeah. We kind of did that in the apartment building. We would sometimes go and like see what the other apartments were up to, but it wasn't as fun.
Yeah, nah, it's not same vibes. We did put our skeleton in front of some doors though and knock and run away.
Shelly,
she had to meet him.
Doing
pranks
with people is like so funny.
I know. I love it. I love it so much.
I can't do it by myself because like what if they're like a killer or something?
Wait, what'd you say?
I said, what if they're a killer or something? I think about this all the time. All my neighbors could be killers. And my mom's like, you need to be nice to your neighbors. And I'm like, I think that I don't need to do that because you never know.
Like, if I invite them in and they kill me, especially in this climate.
The Idaho murderer, he was someone's neighbor.
Exactly. Everyone's someone's neighbor and, and that means every bad person was somebody's neighbor too.
So true.
Yeah.
Great
So
words.
now I'm gonna be Diane Sawyering about it a little bit. But Macy and Becca, what do you think like made you guys successful roommates ultimately? Because you are not living together currently, but you're both kind of happy it happened from what I'm surmising.
Oh yeah. Hey.
And so like what do you think, what are some qualities that the other one had that you enjoyed about them being a roommate? What was the worst thing about having them as a roommate?
Sometimes she stunk.
But yeah,
What
what do you guys like in each other, and how does that represent what's good in a roommate at large?
This
I
is so Diane
personally,
Sawyer.
having I lived with Becca this past semester. I lived with my boyfriend and his two guy friends. And something that I respect a lot about like that I think makes a good roommate situation is when you respect each other's spaces. Like so in our apartment building, like in our apartment, whenever we like wanted to go in the other person's room or like talk to them and their door was closed, like you knock and then like you wait and then you like listen, whatever. And that's something that at my most recent apartment, it was more of a I'll come in your room. And I do not like when people come in my room. I'm like, especially if I'm not prepared, you know? Or it's something where we'd be like, if we want to hang out, I would text her and be like, meet on the couch in 5 minutes.
Literally, we would text and agree to
couch
meet.
5 minutes.
Yeah. And like I think Becca and I both like have similar ways of like just living in general, like where like we have our own spaces and like that's fine. And like but in like the kitchen and like the living room and stuff, we were like both pretty like chill about things where it's like, you know, if like we don't like it to be messy, you know, but it's not also like something where it's like if it's not spotless every second, it's not going to be an issue for either.
Yeah. I think definitely being like chill.
Yeah.
You just kind of have to be chill. And like, yeah. Like, I mean,
reasonably chill where it's like, obviously, like we're not allowing each other to like grow mold in the sink, but like,
yes. Yeah. But if something like can't be eaten off of, like if the ground is a little dusty, like it's a college apartment, like we can kind of deal with that. And that's okay.
Yeah.
And you guys had a good amount of space for everybody.
Oh yeah, that was also good. Our loft was like really big.
Yeah. Was yours the only one with a ensuite, Becca?
Yeah.
That's weird that it had the ensuite, but it was also closest to the bathroom.
I know.
I think it's just because like the way that they have the plumbing set up, it's like it was all just gonna be like over in that corner. So like that's why the bathrooms were like back to back like that. But honestly, bathrooms were like not really an issue, I think, at all, like for anybody. But Becca and I also like as friends, we like to hang out a lot. So it's like, you know, it wasn't one of those things where I was like irritated that I was like seeing Becca every day. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. I don't know. People say all the time like don't live with your besties. Girl, what? Like what if I'm going to be seeing anyone every single day, it might as well be my bestie.
Yeah.
And like I think like
during COVID,
true friends. Oh yeah, literally.
We're together every second. So
yeah.
I don't like you, then you know that's it, getting amplified.
It would be terrible. Exactly. And like friends can communicate and like work through things that are not working if there is an issue. So yeah.
I feel like there is that push and pull of like it is your friend, but like sometimes you just live together and like you don't like certain things don't match up, but like you can also be emotionally mature enough to like say like oh, this isn't working for me, and then like go from there. I feel like that's where most people break down, is that part of being like actually having to communicate like, oh, this thing isn't.
It's a lot about
me included
how you approach it, especially like if Becca or I like had an issue with something, like the way we would approach it is like not in like a passive aggressive manner,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like that's like a big thing with roommates in general, like especially if you're not friends or something. Like whenever I was living with that girl and I like really did not like her, I was just like everything was just like a slight like passive aggressive situation where I'm like, I'm feeling aggressive right now, but like I'm just gonna like be nice. But like with your friend, it's just like, hey, like I don't like this. And then you don't need to make like passive aggressive comments because then it's just like so irritating.
Exactly.
Something like that.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. Well, that was another question I had, being friends but also roommates at the same time.
It's lit.
Because
I loved it.
it doesn't work for everybody.
Yeah. I mean,
but
arguably it was an issue for a different friendship. And we won't speak ill of people who follow us on Instagram. But
there is a third roommate who is not on the call with us today.
Yeah. Yeah. And
not that you guys know of. Come on in.
Oh God. Oh, an ambush. That would be crazy. That would be crazy, actually.
What if? Oh my God.
Come on in.
After living together for so long, like it kind of amplifies your similarities and your differences, I feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah. Becca and you're just much more like similar in a lot of things. That's like in the end like resulted in a more cohesive situation.
Bond.
Yeah.
No, it's not like it's not like the reason that we're not really friends with this person anymore is because like, the floor was dirty or something. Like it's more like you do kind of realize like, oh, I like this about this person, and these are qualities that maybe are really amplified right now. I don't like as much. Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Hey.
Wait, so Macy, you said you lived with your boyfriend for a period last semester. What is it? What would you say is like the difference between living with like a friend versus living with a lover?
So I will say that like the last semester, like I really like living with Becca, obviously. Like I think living with a friend is like just very different. Like Tim, my boyfriend, is my friend, but it's like different where I'm like I need sometimes to like talk to like my girlfriends, you know what I mean? Like hang out with my girlfriends and like watch TV and whatever. And like living with him and his friends was like one of those things where it's like I was living with more people, but like I felt a little bit more like alone because I didn't like doing the things that they did and like watching the stuff that they wanted to watch. Like you don't get to kind of have like a community situation with your roommates when you're like, close friends with them. But actually living with Tim like was totally fine. Like I think like we plan to live together in like the near future also. And like I think that will be like totally fine. Like we lived in this small room together and that was like our only space this whole semester. And it was totally fine. Like I don't like get tired of being around him, It's like not to get like sappy on the pod, but like
we will kill you and others.
You guys know him. Like he's like a good friend.
Tim's very agreeable. We all love Tim here.
Like he's just fun to hang out with, so it's not.
We all have kissed him.
We've all kissed him.
We all have that connection with him, and we understand, like.
And he kissed one of us very eagerly, I will say. A couple of times.
Man of the people. He's a man of the people.
Man of the people, ultimately.
It's so true.
He'll do.
It's not that bad. I think if you have a lot of issues living with like a person you're romantically involved with, then you're probably not communicating well enough. I think honestly, that's just the bottom line here with roommate situation is communication.
Yeah.
And mutual respect.
It's kind of the bottom line of any relation you have with a person.
Yeah.
Communicate and respect them.
We all know that, and yet it's still an issue.
It's so hard to execute sometimes for some individuals.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Crazy.
Yeah. I really like what you guys said about like having your own space, because that is also something that's really, I realized, important to me. Probably during my like freshman year. I feel like my first year though was kind of like I just kind of decided early on that like, okay, this is like a finite amount of time I have to live with this person. And so, you know, I don't, you pick your battles a little bit.
Right.
But if it is somebody you do have like a genuine friendship with, like you guys obviously are interested in like staying in each other's lives, so it makes sense that you would want to like communicate and like be upfront and stuff like that. But like especially when I was traveling and stuff and I was staying in rooms with like anywhere from like 3 to like 13 other people, I did realize having like my own space is very important to me. Like just having somewhere where like I can just be like by myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely made me like respect my silence. Like sometimes I get so exhausted, especially like lately. I get so exhausted talking to people like constantly. And I'm like making sure I have my own space where I don't have to talk to anybody for like
yeah
amount of time is like such a relief.
Yeah. It's perfect. Hibernating.
Yeah.
Well, to kind of wrap a bow up on this, do you guys have any like really fun stories from your time living together?
I was gonna mention, Becca, like whenever kind of we had our COVID fall semester, I kind of initiated us writing each other riddles.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Oh my
God,
gosh.
Macy, that was so fun.
It was like it made those days not as horrible because I was like sitting in my class at 8 a.m. and I was like thinking of my riddle. I was
yeah.
Slide under their doors and be like it was like a mystery thing where I was like sliding under the door while they're in class and I was like, let's see if we can figure it out.
Bitch can't solve this. Yeah, and then we started a mini riddle wall where we would post all the riddles, and it definitely did make those those terrible 10-hour Zoom days like so much better. That was very cute of us.
Aww.
That was so cute. I can't believe we literally lived there for 3 years.
I know. I didn't realize you guys lived there for so long.
Yeah.
It was lived in. We
lived in.
Oh, trust.
We
got our money out of that couch that I never put a cent into. It was a gift. It was a gift.
One thing about me, Quinn, is if there's a corner of a couch, I'm gonna sleep in it. I will.
Oh my God.
That was a comfortable
couch. It's
couch.
Tranquilizer
it was a comfortable
to
couch.
If Macy's in that corner, eyes asleep within 10. It's crazy.
She has insomnia. She's out there.
What are some of your memories, Becca, of the apartment?
Oh my God. There's so many. I mean, I loved all the people that we would also meet as like something. Okay, this is gonna be hard to explain, but when I can really recognize like people are my best friends are when I'm having a lot of fun like meeting someone else with them. If that makes sense. I don't know, just like when you talk to a third party like with your friend, like,
I get exactly
it's
what
so
you
funny.
mean. Yeah.
It's so fun. And like I don't know, a bunch of randos that would end up at the apartment and we'd be like, okay, bye. I don't know, just so fun.
Especially like our last summer there. Why were there so many random people that were showing up in our apartment every single week?
God, I don't know this man from Adam and he's in my room. Like,
Literally,
what the hell?
We'd invite them in. We'd be like, this is my room. This is Becca's room. This is our riddle wall. This is our quote wall. Like, this is our couch. Do you want to meet like my childhood stuffed animal? Like,
Macy also on record several times during this episode saying, I don't like strangers.
Literally, I don't like strangers. Come into my house though. Like, come in.
There's like a certain I have a certain threshold for strangers, and I think if Becca's around, like I can take a stranger. You know what I mean?
The threshold,
and that's what Becca was talking about.
Exactly. With a friend, you can meet a stranger, and it's okay.
Yeah, you're not afraid.
It's so true. I often think about that boy this summer that I met at Mario's, and he walked us all the way home, and he picked up a lamp and held it for me, and then when he got to the door, he was like, "Okay, bye."
Yes, I totally forgot about that.
I was like, perfect.
it's the college experience, you know?
Just meeting people and then taking them to your house.
Yeah.
I love it. I love
Becca
it.
spent so many nights on that couch, like laughing about the craziest stuff. Like I don't
Yeah.
know, like
I
every
know.
time we would go out on that couch, we'd be laughing. Like there's no
Yeah. Hilarity ensues.
Yeah.
We also discovered that in the kitchen, okay, we would also stand like in the kitchen for just hours also and talk. And we discovered that I am a person who can either be extremely short or extremely Macy's height. Like there were days where I was so small compared to Macy and other roommate, and days where I was like their height. It was crazy.
There were days
That
when I
is
was looking
crazy.
Becca in the eyes, and then there were days when I was like inspecting her scalp. Like
Same shoes.
Yeah, same shoes.
Yeah, same slippers.
It's just the vibe Becca has. Like some days she's just like the tiniest person, you know? It's
The
like
smallest girl who's ever lived.
Yeah.
like,
Some days I'm so Gaga, I'm so Ariana. It's
Yeah.
crazy. That was fun to discover.
One of my personal favorite features from your guys' apartment was the summer you had the bucket list.
Yep. That was like that summer will live on in my head like rent free for if I get dementia, you better believe that summer is in my head still. Like
Yeah.
That was the
There's
Cusp of
one thing in my
Magic
head,
birthday
that's it.
party as well.
Yeah, so summer of 21, flawless actually to me.
it was
You
It was
guys-
so good.
Oh my God. Well,
Couldn't be
hearing you
any
guys talk about how good your roommate experience was makes me want to have a roommate at some point.
Oh my God, Quinn,
But
look
I
into it.
actually enjoy their company.
All right.
Well, I think we're going to go to a little break, and then we'll be right back
Yeah.
to get into our segments for this week.
Yippee do.
Guys, I'm scared.
Oh,
No.
the dog
This
pooped
is
on the floor.
Patrick. As someone who recently stepped in dog shit in my own home, this is tough for me. It was bad for me. It was bad for me.
Were you barefoot?
No. Worse even because I got on my slipper.
Oh.
Becca, whenever we lived together, famously you dropped ice cream on the floor and then just wiped it with your sock. So
And it wasn't that much. So come on now.
that was the funniest thing you ever did.
Sometimes I just wipe things up with my feet because it's like it's fine.
Sometimes you don't need
a paper towel to the ground. No, and if you're gonna be my roommate, you have to be chill with things like that.
Yeah, you have to be fine with watching you wipe ice cream with your foot and then just walk away.
Let me live. Let me live. All right. Well, anyways, guys, so it's time for the segments of the week. First being, we have again a comment corner. What a blessing!
Like a record.
Yeah, seriously, winning streak. And this one is from someone who we know all too well,
literally,
and who has arguably just discovered us as a podcasting group. And that is dear cousin Ryan.
Yes.
Quinn, you'll have to remind me what video he posted
So
this
that
on. Was
is
it the vacation episode?
That's actually something I meant to look up, but then never actually did because I have a little bird brain inside my head.
Fascinating.
Keeps me from doing things sometimes. So
I think it was the vacation episode.
I'm checking right now. You were exactly right, Becca. And I just left a like on it on my own personal YouTube.
Perfect. Well, Ryan pens a YouTube comment that reads, "Is it me? Am I the problem?" And Ryan, yes. That's what that episode was about. The crux of it was that you are a problem. We love you for it.
You've actually talked about multiple episodes now where Ryan has been the problem.
Yeah, he's a problematic person.
Problematic babe. That's the one where he threw up in the pool, right?
I threw up in the pool because he torpedoed into my stomach.
Ryan. Lauren.
Andrew. Yeah. So, Ryan, sometimes you can be problematic, and I'll never not tell you that to your face.
Macy, do you have any relation to cousin Ryan?
Yeah, I mean, cousin Ryan is my cousin adjacent, I would say.
Yeah, cousin adjacent to us all, really.
So true, so true. Universal cousin status.
I mean, I've been around cousin Ryan quite a few times, and
Really, you've like met him?
Oh yeah, lots of times, yeah. Famously, one time, I was at his brother's
dream
party, and I had taken some expired medicine, and famously, I could not stay awake. Like I was literally passing out, like everywhere at this graduation party. I was asleep. Like
it was bad for her. I gave her. It was also like it was NyQuil expired. And like too much of it, so like Macy, it was bad for her. But she was passing out.
She was walking through water, like
yeah.
I was like asleep, but I could hear people talking still. But I literally could not open my eyes, and
my head hit the floor. Boom.
We're going.
And I began to pass out.
Like, is there something wrong with her? Ryan famously was like, "What is wrong with her? Like, is she fine?" And I was like, couldn't respond, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, silence.
I was basically in a coma that night, but I could hear everything around me happening. But yeah, that was a very funny time.
That was so funny. My mom's one friend walked up to me, was like, "Yo, your friend is fucked up." And I was like, "No, she's just asleep. Don't worry, she's just on drugs."
Like I was not drunk. I was I was just
Tylenol.
I was like,
she's out for the night.
So true.
Ryan took a picture of me, and he posted that on his Snapchat, and it was a little embarrassing.
That's very Ryan coded. Wait.
No, literally, he barely knew her, and he posted it on his private story. It's so fucked up.
I forget what the caption was, but it was something like about like, what's wrong with her? Like this bitch.
Is she hungry?
So funny, bro.
It's fine. I love Ryan adjacent.
But now we get to the point in our episode where we get into our jump scares of the week. And so a jump scare is just a time in the week where we felt the fear of God in our hearts. And so Macy, as our guest, what was that time for you this week?
So this week I went to the airport, and Becca knows.
Terrible. We agree.
That's the jump scare right there, but then it goes even deeper than that.
Oh God! As sometimes it does.
About flip flops, the shoe wear, and there were. Be prepared for this. There were men in the airport wearing flip flops, which is the biggest like horror to me. To have your bare feet out at TSA, you're gonna be barefoot, double cheeked up at TSA.
Not in this building.
And also to be a man, and I don't respect men's feet most of the time. I think it's something that they don't know how to handle those things. So,
it should be not seen and not heard.
Yes, and we're in the city of Pittsburgh in January. Now, what excuse could you possibly have of having your bare foot in a flop at the airport in January in Pittsburgh?
So true.
It's probably just so that it would be easier to remove. That's the only thing I can think of. But even then, it's like, why would you want your feet exposed to the elements?
Yeah.
First of all, my feet be getting cold. I'm not sure about everybody else.
Yeah.
Ooh,
but like, yes, it kind of has a smell similar to like a Chuck E. Cheese, I think. And, like in general. And it's like, could you imagine possibly being barefoot at a Chuck E. Cheese? Like it's equivalent in my mind. Like
never. I couldn't.
So yeah, it was scary for me. I was able to get through it with a red Powerade and some bugles, but it's fine. I like
Wow. Oh God. Feet in the airport. That is terrifying.
Yeah. So Becca, what I'm like thinking about it now. But so to move on from that, Becca, what is your jump scare for this week?
So I had a different one, but I was reminded of this when Macy earlier was talking about her lip bleeding because I thought it were blood. And this is actually scary. So yesterday my dad was like, "Oh yeah, you do like horror movies. I have something to tell you." And I was like, "Oh." And he was like, "So your uncle emailed So his brother emailed like all the brothers and sisters on like a random Tuesday at 1 a.m. It was like there was just some drama here. This is what happened to my uncle. My uncle was in his living room watching a football game or whatever. And he has in the living room, there's like two windows and they go to the back porch and they have like motion sensor lights. And he saw the light like flicker and go on and off like 8 times in a row. And so at first he was like, animal, like whatever, like no big deal. And then it kept happening. And then finally he was like, okay, I'm gonna go out. So he goes out to the mud room. Dude, there's a guy there covered in blood, smiling in at him and just standing there. And so my uncle starts banging on the door and is like, no, get away, no. And like all the doors are locked and everything. But eventually, like the guy just leaves eventually. But my uncle then is like, okay, I have to call the police. Like, I have to. And the police were like, okay, like, we don't think he was trying to really break in, but like, we'll investigate. They found blood on the front door handle. They found blood like in the side yard. And then they're like, oh, and then like maybe he was trying to steal your bike. And my uncle was like, I don't have this like e-bike. It was an e-bike. And so against the house, this guy left his e-bike. And like, I don't even know. There was so much blood everywhere. And they were like, okay, so we really can't really do anything. We're going to patrol the area. But yeah.
We have no leads?
No leads to my knowledge.
Do they know what the blood like came from?
They think it was probably his blood. Like maybe he like wiped out on his bike and then was just like trying to get into this house.
Well, why was he smiling though? Maybe he was drunk.
I know. Well, but I mean, totally possible that this like drunk idiot like crashed and then thought it was his house or something. But to be smiling, also like a Tuesday to be that drunk, like, and the owner of an e-bike,
I'd have to move.
I would have to call it.
This was in Upper St. Clair. This happened.
No, this was in Easton, Pennsylvania.
Oh.
I'm like, and the address is, you can go visit the house this happened at.
It's your other uncle. I was about to say, Becca, I have not heard anything.
No. That could not happen in Upper St. Clair. The hills, baby. To get an e-bike up the hills.
Where the heck would he even get an e-bike? If he was biking all the way from the city, I mean,
it could not.
I really don't like that. I
would never sleep again in my house, I think.
I know. Yeah.
If I saw a mystery man in the apartment, you better believe Becca and I have a tale of this, of like when we thought someone might have been in the apartment.
Well, you guys famously have a lot of strangers just going through it all hours.
Yeah.
Well,
oh yeah.
This is a whole event that we thought someone was in the kitchen and we were both like literally paralyzed with fear.
Yeah, texting each other in the middle of the night.
Better believe that if there actually was someone out there, it would have been the end of days, like
curtains,
apocalypse. Yeah.
Yeah. It ended up just being our roommate clipping their toenails, unbeknownst to us. So that's our fault. But I thought the oven was clicking. Someone was turning it on.
Clicking, the ominous clicking that we thought was coming from the kitchen was like.
Why were they doing it in the middle of the night?
I don't know. Yeah.
They were doing it in the kitchen, or was it in the bathroom and it sounded?
No, it was in the bathroom.
It was so loud that I even heard it from my room.
They were some thick ass nails.
It was literally horrifying.
Some fungal toenails.
I thought we were
being bad,
but yeah, we live inside. Not
well,
and covered in blood, but
yeah. Well, basically, we lived through it. My uncle's alive, so that's good. Quinn, that leads me. What was your jump scare of the week?
My jump scare. Oh, I'm actually copying off of Becca this week too, because you guys might notice something different about me. But I attended a Philadelphia 76ers game.
Oh my God.
On Wednesday of last week, I believe it was. And I went with my friends from high school. And we go to the Sixers game, and you may have noticed that I've worn a bracelet for the past couple months that has the evil eye on it. That I bought in Greece, and I bought it as a reaction to losing my suitcase because I was like, clearly someone is trying to psychically attack me.
Yeah.
And I need protection. And since then, psychic attacks have been at an all-time low. And so I did notice that the on my bracelet, it had come like a part of it had broke, like because it was one of those pulley ones where like you pull from both sides and it comes in. And so part of like the little thing that kept it together had broken. And so I was like, huh, that's weird. And then we're at the Sixers game. I had a tall boy twee. And so I was a little, I was buzzed and having a good time. I looked down my wrist, bracelet, gone.
No. God.
So
Scared for you.
I believe there was a 2-tiered psychic attack on me. One that was not very powerful, and then one that my bracelet was either compromised or it was powerful enough to break the bracelet, but she did protect me and she did do her job.
And we thank her every day.
We thank her so much, but she's no longer with me.
Oh my gosh, Quinn.
And so, yeah.
This is crazy, actually. This is crazy.
You got to be careful when you go into Philly. I mean, a lot of crazy stuff.
Bad things happen in Philadelphia, as a wise man once said.
Do you know which Sixers player had it out for you?
If I could remember any of their names, I would tell you. I don't think it would be James Harden. Although I was like, one of my bits that I was trying out that night is whenever they would miss like a basketball, I would be like, oh, well, someone didn't show up for work today.
So basketball.
Whenever they would make it, I would go, oh, look who showed up for work today. Look who's clocked in.
And they took that personally, obviously.
Literally.
Yeah.
Me up in the damn nosebleed for $40 whole. They could hear me.
Mm.
Oh my God.
$40?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That's like not bad to go. It's funny how you heard $40 and you were like, what? And I heard $40 and I was like, oh yeah.
Just to me, if I go to a sports game, it's got to be free. It's got to be free.
Famously, not, but we'll find a way.
Oh,
we'll find a way.
Food is so expensive, actually.
Oh my God.
I think my tall boy was close to like $20.
No,
it was yeah. So anyway, but yeah, there was also this point where I said, because it was a really good game. Like it went into overtime, and it was and I at one point like screamed "fuck," and one of my friends was like, "Quinn, there are children." And I said, "You know what? Well, there's also adults." So,
and I'm one of them.
And I'm one of them, actually.
Speak freely. That's so How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days of You.
I've never seen, but
thanks for the chuckle then. Thanks for chuckling.
But I trust you implicitly, so I know you wouldn't just lie. Like,
well, thanks, girl. Yeah, you would love it. You would love it, actually, because it's Kate Hudson's finest.
Kate Hudson and Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah.
And so, but anyway, now we get to the Manic Pixie moments of our week. And it's just a time in our week where we felt like the ooh ah ah sensation. We very much felt like we were the muse of like an indie pop song, maybe, that you might come across on your Spotify Discover Weekly. And so Macy, what was that moment for you this week, would you say?
So I would say that it's not like, it doesn't seem substantial to maybe other people, but to me, very substantial in the fact that I went to Old Navy and I bought like some cute workout clothes, in which I have like never bought cute workout clothes in my life. Like when I was in high school and like doing sports or whatever, I would just wear like t-shirts and shorts. And I bought like these blue like flare leggings and like a purple zip up or whatever. And there's like that trend on TikTok right now that it's like, I'm turning into like a white woman. And I was like, that's now me. I will now have my Starbucks cup and my like cute little cropped zip up sweatshirt, and I will be going to like my Pilates class. And and I have like, I also got an adult purse for Christmas that is,
Yes.
you know, a big step for a woman. I got like a large Coach purse. And so I'm like, I'm gonna have my Coach purse, I'm gonna have my Old Navy little workout set, and I'm gonna be just walking down the street and I'm gonna look awesome.
And
So
her J'adore perfume.
yeah, exactly.
Adore. J'adore.
Just becoming
J'adore.
a woman that looks like she maybe has a job.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she's slaying the workforce because she
Yeah.
had to.
Yeah.
She had to.
But
Oh my gosh.
at it, obviously. Gonna work it.
Yeah.
So,
Slay on. Just never buy a Lululemon belt bag.
no, I won't.
No.
Because when I was at the mall, famously with my adult Coach purse, and I saw all these 14-year-olds with a Lululemon belt bag, I was like, it's so embarrassing to be you, and I will never be you.
Thank you.
Guys,
Thank
there are
you.
ways you can do the crossbody bag. I have this. I will pull this out right now.
Do
This
it.
girl I took with me all through Europe. It's a Tom Bin, but it's not the fucking Lululemon Everywhere belt like that everybody is wearing. Like,
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's just like, it's so unpractical because what could you even put in it? A phone, maybe a single credit card. I don't know, but
yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe a chapstick. Maybe your
Meanwhile,
bronzy drops.
I can fit multiple books in that.
exactly.
The almanac.
That's what I wanted out of a purse. I keep my Kindle in there and a book at all times in that purse because it holds everything. You
You
know,
need somewhere to
Yeah.
put your pack of cigarettes,
exactly.
Yep.
My
Axe.
bottle of wine.
a lighter, your axe, your mini bottle of Chardonnay in case the day goes south,
Yeah.
or in case it goes north.
So two. Yeah.
But yeah. So,
That's awesome.
Becca, what was your Mana Pixie moment, if we may transition?
Well, and so yeah. I have been I'm on and off on if I believe in like the color theory of people, like when people say like you're such a winter,
Be
you're
careful
such
now.
a okay. Oh, okay. So
That's
cut
such an
that
interesting way to
out.
describe racism. Like, Becca's mind
Be
is so
careful.
expansive.
Oh my God, actually. The color theory of people. Okay, so not like that.
I like that.
But in a way, you know, where people are like fall into seasons and like, you know, stuff like that. There's like a huge TikTok community dedicated to like finding out like what your colors are and stuff.
Uh-huh.
And I have finally deduced that I am a cool/soft summer. So muted blues and pinks look best on me.
Mm-hmm.
And I should avoid anything like a cobalt blue or a how you say neon mustard.
A neon mustard.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
mustard, I think you have a point, but like a cobalt blue, I could see you slaying so hard in.
And I think if I needed to, I could.
Yeah.
But it's just not going to be in my deepest truth.
Yeah.
And I think we can all agree with that.
It's like I'm wearing black today, and whenever I wear black, I'm like, okay. But I also feel like a poser when I wear black.
A poser?
Yeah.
Because you want to be goth and you're not?
Yeah, it's just not like being like wearing black clothing is just like not who I am.
Oh, I gotcha. I gotcha.
Like sometimes it's fun, it's a fun aesthetic to sometimes play around in, but like, you know, it's not reflexive of everything I want to be.
Yeah. No, at the end of the day, I truly believe I'm going to wear whatever I want. Trust on
1000%.
that. But it is good to know that like baby pink is like the color I was born to wear.
Yeah.
It's nice to be affirmed in that way.
Yeah, it's good to be validated by that because I'm a cool winter, and that includes hot pink in it.
Totally.
And black and like and cobalt, like colors like that are in there. And I'm like, makes perfect sense because I famously cannot wear like muted tones very well. Like I don't know colors. So yeah.
And that's why we're such a good bestie duo.
I don't know what I am.
If I had to guess, you would probably be, honestly, and everyone wants to be this, an autumn.
Really?
Yeah. Really? Yeah, girl, I said it. I said it. I don't know. I don't know if you're a warm or cool toned. If I had to guess, also, I'd say cool.
Mm.
Cool toned autumn. I don't know what that would be then.
I do love brown.
What's your manic pixie moment, Quinn?
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you guys. My manic pixie moment, and you wouldn't even think that like I had all this time to think of it, and I wouldn't have an answer. But
Really
my
tell.
my manic pixie what was my manic pixie moment? My manic pixie moment, honestly, I actually got all my film back from my
Ah,
travels.
lovely.
And so I have 11 rolls of film, which is like, is that over
Whoa.
400? Like that's close to 400 photographs. Um,
My goodness.
and yeah. Oh, I also bought this. Wait, I'll get her real quick.
I wonder if CVS was the one to
Oh.
develop them.
So as we all know, I was looking for a point and shoot film camera for a long time, and I have finally selected one. This is her christening. This is Miss
Ooh.
Girl.
Ah.
She's a Rico RW1. It's completely new actually, which is kind of crazy. Um, which is one of the reasons I bought it. But yeah.
I'm so excited to see the outcome from this.
Yeah, it does
I
not have any
know,
film in it.
seriously.
But yeah, I'm excited to shoot with it and really just stepping into my life. I probably couldn't have picked a hobby that's more expensive than analog photography. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
it's actually kind of crazy how much it used to cost to like take photographs. Um, no, like if you think of like if you just used a phone for a camera, it would pay itself off so quickly.
Yeah.
Because like what, I have 17,000 photos or something on my phone.
Yeah.
Like to get 17,000 photos developed and to
Yeah.
buy the film,
Priceless. Too many hours of work.
literally. And so anyway.
It's an
But
art.
yeah,
Art is always worth it.
no, and hobbies, yeah, guys, spend money. I'm trying to spend money on like a hobby and something that brings me like genuine joy.
So are you gonna learn to like develop the film by yourself?
I don't know about all that quite yet. No,
Okay.
something that's in for 2023 that I'm appreciating about my mentality this year is I'm allowed to take things slow a little bit.
Yeah, totally.
Because, like, you know, I just made my purchase of the second camera. Because there was like a meme about that I'm on the subreddit for analog photography.
Mm-hmm. I bet.
Crazy sentence I
I
just said.
bet. I bet.
And so I was like looking at it and somebody posted a meme of like how getting your film developed by someone else is like such a ripoff. And then I'm like, well, have you ever considered I don't want to learn how to develop it myself?
Yeah.
Because
Great
it seems
point.
kind of hard.
Yeah. And like dark and lonely.
Yeah, so I don't know, maybe someday in the future, maybe. I also, do you know what actually I'm like genuinely more interested in to see if I could do?
What's that?
People repair like the cameras themselves.
Oh,
Like
interesting.
I would learn how to do that before I learned how to develop my own film.
Yeah, that's a good stepping
Like
stone.
people learn how to like tinker with them, which I'm not even ready to do that because that was part of the reason I liked this one so much because this guy who is like a camera seller in California had a bunch of these just like
Oh,
laying around like new in the box. And
uh-huh.
so it was like I could spend a little bit more on this one and like know it have a pretty good idea that it's like a working camera
Right.
versus like buying something that like because you'd be surprised how many people like will be selling cameras and will just be like, yeah, I haven't tested it.
Yeah. Don't know if it worked. Good luck though. Peace
And I'm
and
like, you
love.
couldn't pop some batteries in there?
Couldn't do the bare minimum.
And like they take like double like point and shoots take like double A's. Like that wouldn't have been that hard.
Girl.
Anyway. But yeah,
So
that
loving
was
the
our
outcome.
moments. But we do get a special thing because we have a guest.
Oh yeah.
And we now invite Macy for her hard work on today's podcast, for her contributions. We would love to invite Macy to add something to the stand list as a way to put her stamp on the MPJCU universe forever, which she's already done, but
indubitably,
just an extra little bit of insurance. So Macy, you have a little bit of a knowing glance, which leads me to believe that maybe you thought of this before, which is pretty new for our guests because
they're usually so surprised.
They're usually shocked.
Well, as a responsible guest that I am, I asked Becca, like, what should I prepare for this episode? You know, I want to make sure that I'm not lulling the conversation with my thoughts, right? But so
no thoughts, just got to speak.
No thoughts. Go.
What I would like to add should come as a shock to no one that knows me. But it is corgis.
That's such a good one. That's such a good one.
Yeah. Loves
their little butts and their tiny little legs, like there's nothing, and also they just have like a chaotic energy about them.
Yes.
It like is unexplainable because they're so stubby.
Inbreeding.
They'd be there's that.
And the fact that they're royals. And one more thing on corgis, because I feel like they're only recently kind of broken into the zeitgeist, but I've known about them for a long time because they were like the in vogue horse show dog when I was growing up, and I would go to work with my mom.
Delaware's dog.
They're farming.
No, not even Delaware, because there's not a big horse community in Delaware. Southeast Pennsylvania, baby, though. Corgis everywhere. Corgis literally everywhere.
There's a farm, like there's probably going to be a corgi on that thing. Like I mean, people don't think about it, but they're little farmy little boys. So
yeah, even my mom's farm she was boarding at a couple of years ago in Florida, like the person who owned it had like 2 corgi puppies. They were so cute.
They're so cute.
Yeah,
they're so cute.
Amazing addition. Is that the first animal we've put on the stand list?
Well, dogs who can't bark are on it.
Oh, so you're a corgi who can't bark? Wait. Intersectionality.
You're perfect.
That's actually a really rare find. Corgis are famously very
yappers.
Loud animals.
That's okay. I forgive them. Yeah. There's also the famous corgi from Brooklyn Nine-Nine, Cheddar.
Yeah, Cheddar.
Yeah, so
what's up? He's an officer of the law,
Yeah, in a good way.
In a good way, yeah. He's a secret agent.
If that can be a thing.
ACAB includes that. ACAB includes Cheddar. I think that brings us to the end of our show today. And so, Becca, if people want to keep up with you, how can they even do so this day and age?
Well, they can follow me on Instagram at Becca Hobart, TikTok, Where Y'all Going During World War III, Twitter, and Spotify, Beck's Gloss. They can also find me visiting Macy in February in Wisconsin. Yeah. Me too.
So fun.
Include sitting in my bed and reading together and order food.
And it couldn't be more perfect. All right. Macy, where can people keep up with you if they want? Do we do that?
Yeah.
I'll take the free publicity, man.
Okay, yeah.
Instagram at Macy Falcione. TikTok is Call Me Facey. Twitter, I'm pretty sure is also Macy Falcione. I've been losing followers on there because I'm just not engaging like I used to, but
bot purges. It's something that's very near and dear to Becca and I, as somebody who have a lot of bot followers.
Yeah.
So I think that's good social media coverage right there.
Okay, perfect. All right, and then Quinn, where can people keep up with you if they're so inclined?
You can follow me at Quinn P. Murphy on Instagram and TikTok, and you can follow me at Quinn P. Murphy _ on Twitter. You can also find me having a little 20 to 30 minute play date with Adrienne Mishler every day for the month of January for the 4th calendar year now. It's crazy.
Wow. She's so silly. Love her.
No, she is a silly girl at the end of the day. And I do talk to her. She probably is somebody I have such a strong parasocial relationship with.
Yeah. And Benji.
Yeah. Oh, Stand List laureates. or not even laureates. They are
stand list members.
entrants. Yeah,
yeah,
members.
yeah.
They are on the stand list. They are in the MPJCU.
Yoga with Adrian, everyone. Yoga
And
with
Adrian, if you're listening, just tell us, girl. And so Becca, where can people keep up with the show if they are so inclined and they want to hear more?
Yeah, they can follow at Manic Pixie Jumpscare on Instagram and TikTok and YouTube, where we post the podcast at length video version. You can see our beautiful faces and our virtual backgrounds.
And where Ryan is commenting, most importantly.
Exactly. You want to see those. You want to be there for that.
He's catching up. We don't know if we're going to be able to outrun him this time.
He's gaining on us. Yeah, so okay, and then please also email in at manicpixiejumpscare@gmail.com. You can talk to us about anything you want. We want to know your roommate stories if you have any crazy ones. That would be so juicy and interesting. And there are no stakes and there's going to be no backlash because ultimately, if you email us, we are on your side immediately.
Oh, yeah.
So, boom.
Leave out details to your heart's desire.
Yeah, or include new ones that are not the truth. Do what you need to do.
Dramatize. Figure out how to make the story interesting. Guys, come on.
Yeah, do better.
We're Quinn.
And we're Becca.
And thank you.
Thank you
for listening. Ooh-ah.
Yay.
Ooh, oh, 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 oh.
Manic Pixie Jumpscare is hosted by Quinn Murphy
and Becca Hobart. Executive produced by Quinn Murphy and Becca Hobart.
Sound and video editing by Quinn Murphy.
Social media management and highlights by Becca Hobart.
And our theme song was written by Quinn Murphy, Becca Hobart, and Nandita Mahesh.